Hello and welcome back to Football Corner Pod, where we break down all things football, from iconic clubs to the fans who live and breathe the game. I'm your host Hari Keshav, and today we have a massive episode lined up because we are previewing the biggest club fixture in world football, that is El Clásico, Barcelona versus Real Madrid. But again, this is not just any Clásico. Barcelona can potentially seal the La Liga title against Real Madrid, while Madrid come into this game surrounded by all the dressing room chaos, manager rumors, and major questions about the direction of the club. And to break it all down, I'm joined by two fantastic guests. So, first of all, we have Roshi, the voice behind the Instagram and YouTube channel Roshi Football. He's a die-hard Barcelona fan who's built a strong football community with over 600 followers on Instagram and more than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, welcome to the pod, Roshi Bhai. It's an absolute honor having you on my channel.
Thank you so much. Keen to look forward.
Brilliant. And also, I was just saying before the stream as well, Roshi Bhai does a lot of watch alongs for ISL as well. So, if you're an Indian football fan who also follows ISL, please do log into his channel to see all the good work Roshi Bhai is doing. He's just a brilliant football content creator. So, very nice to have you again, Roshi Bhai, on the channel.
Thank you.
And then joining him is Vedant, who is a die-hard Real Madrid fan and the man behind the channel Madrid Pundits by Vedant. His page is closing in on 11,000 followers on Instagram, and his YouTube channel has over 29K subscribers, which is absolutely fantastic how you've built this strong football community around Real Madrid as well. So, Vedant, thank you so much for joining us. Honestly, it's an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast, and can't wait to listen to you talk about Real Madrid.
Thank you so much for those kind words, Hari Bhai, and it is great to be here with you and Roshi Bhai. And let's have a fantastic conversation.
Brilliant, brilliant. I'm guessing, Vedant, you're going to be doing most of the talking because it's really, I mean, you have to break it down to us neutral fans or who are not fans of Real Madrid, or even who are fans of Real Madrid who have no idea as to what's going on behind Real Madrid. So you're going to be doing most of the talking, but we will involve Roshi Bhai to talk about Barcelona as well. So today we have to start off with the chaos currently surrounding Real Madrid. So that we'll talk about the Valverde Chouameni incident, the Carreras Rudiger incident, Mbappe as well. Then there is the talk of Mourinho now joining Real Madrid. Amongst all of this unrest, you put a Vince McMahon like character into this club. It's going to be epic, absolute box office. So I wanted to get your views on that, Vedant. And then Roshi Bhai, we're going to talk about Barcelona's title chance in the Clásico because they have the chance to beat Real Madrid and clinch the La Liga in a Clásico. So when has that happened the last time? So want to get your thoughts
It
on
has never
that, and
happened.
then yeah, okay, brilliant. So this is the time, when things are not looking so good. I mean, I'm guessing Barcelona are going to be baying for blood. It's going to be like Jaws, I hope. So let's see. Let's talk about all that, and then also Roshibai, I wanted to talk to you about Marcus Rashford, Julian Alvarez. What is happening there with respect to Barcelona? Are they looking at this? So this is the agenda that I wanted to start off with. And Vedant, let me start off. I'm sure a lot of people have been asking you or messaging you regarding the same, but if you can break it down into simple terms, what is the madness that is happening at Real Madrid? Could you break it down to us? And could you also tell what has led to so much toxicity? I mean, yes, Madrid is always, a bit like that with so much pressure and players have egos, but we have never seen so much toxicity also spilling into, absolute fights and people being sent to the hospitals and stuff like this.
You know, the actual story doesn't start a week back or 2 weeks back.
Mhm.
The actual story actually starts when the season started
Mhm.
because there was a certain section of players which did not like Xabi Alonso. That section was particularly of Vinicius Jr., Jude Bellingham, Federico Valverde, Thibaut Courtois, and Antonio Rudiger. These players did not like Xabi Alonso, his methods. According to them, his methods were too intense. You know,
Mhm.
the amount of tactical intensity in training sessions, or you could tell about the tactical footage he would showcase even in mediocre La Liga matches. That really, frightened them is the real
Mhm.
word. That really shocked them, because before that at Real Madrid they had never seen that under Ancelotti or even under Zidane.
Yep.
So something of this was a complete shocker to them, I feel, and that is why they went on to complain to Florentino Perez ki we are having to, do so many tactical drills, so much tactical footage to study from, and yet we are being subbed off in the 60th minute or the 50th minute of the match just so that a youngster can come on and get the remainder of the match. So that is unfair to them. And the entire project was being built around Kylian Mbappe. Now, when you actually look and consider Vinicius Junior's point of view, you will totally understand what he might have been gone through, what he might have been going through during that El Clasico moment. He was the star player of Real Madrid for a good 2 3 years. He was in the contention of Ballon d'Or. The Ballon d'Or was not given to him, and ultimately he could see someone else, someone new coming into the locker room, and him dominating over Vinicius. So when you've been there, when you've done that, and then someone new appears out of nowhere and starts doing what you're supposed to do or what you're meant to do and becomes the main figure, it really makes you jealous. And that is the entire storyline. Jude
Mhm.
Bellingham and Vinicius are somewhat jealous of Kylian Mbappe because ever since that he's come into the club, he's scored like 95 goals or 94 GA is what he has in 100 games for Real Madrid, which are insane stats. They are like
Yep.
Ronaldo Messi numbers, right?
Yep.
So that has been the spotlight, and ultimately it has led to toxicity between the stars. But it was kind of gotten ridden off under Carlo Ancelotti because the kind of experience Ancelotti has. But then under Xabi Alonso, I personally feel that Xabi was a great tactician, but he was
Mhm.
not a great man manager, and I think that is where
Absolutely.
Madrid went wrong with him. They should have given him more time so that he could, really understand that man management kind of a side, because ultimately these players need to be managed well rather than tactically trained well, because that is how Madrid has been under Mourinho, under Vincente Del Bosque, under Zidane, under Ancelotti. So this was a complete shocker, you could say, you know. So the entire you could say the style of play and everything switched from a
Mhm.
counter-attacking football. We switched to possession-oriented football in a mid-block, and properly building the play from the back. That was also never a Madrid style, and in the last 10 or you could say 15 years. So that was
Mhm.
also very weird to see. And apart from that, you can also say that added up to the fact that Chouamini was getting a very important role under
Mhm.
Xabi Alonso, but Valverde didn't like Xabi Alonso. So
Mhm.
since then they've been fighting and they haven't been talking to each other since a very long time. And ultimately the mess happened, and that's what I'm saying, that it can't happen over a silly training session. It has been there, the tension has been there since a very very long time, and it has finally come up to the surface. And ultimately they had a fight, and whatever Valverde said in his story, that is absolute bullshit, that is absolute
Mhm.
ridiculous. I don't agree with whatever he's saying. He's saying we didn't have a fight, he didn't punch me, I didn't punch him, I just
Mhm.
fell on the table. How can you randomly fell on the table, bhai? You can't fall on the table just like that. There has to be something that must have happened for him to fall like that, right? And he got
Yep.
hit on the head, he had a concussion or
Yep.
an amnesia. That's what they're
Yeah.
saying. And ultimately that's a mess. Now Rudiger and Carreras. Rudiger is a, you could say, he's a dumb guy.
Character.
He's really a
Yeah, he's a
dumb guy.
character, right? Yeah.
He should
He's
not
a
be
different
properly allowed to
character.
play without anger management. I still remember that El Clasico. He threw the eyes on the referee.
Yeah, he did that, and there are many other instances where he attacked Ancelotti's staff also, and
Mhm.
they have not come into the spotlight. But there are video clips that he has done that. So I don't think that's big of a deal, but it's actually Carreras who's very big of a deal. Carreras, I think personally, Carreras is a toxic player because he looks down upon Foylan Mendy and Fran Garcia, according to
Mhm.
multiple reports and according to video footages. And he
Mhm.
thinks that he should be the starting choice left back, undisputed,
Mhm.
at Real Madrid. That can't be done because there are three left backs at Madrid right now. And Carreras is a problem, and I think Rudiger kind of tried to deal with him, trying to make him humble and stuff like that. So that is the entire narrative, and that is the entire fight that happened there. Now there is another thing that has happened, that is Mbappe has fought with Arbeloa's staff because apparently they were having a training match where Arbeloa's staff was the linesman. Someone from Arbeloa's staff was the linesman, and ultimately he called Mbappe offside, and he got so pissed off by that that he started yelling on Arbeloa's staff for no reason whatsoever, and nobody even came in between Mbappe and the person who was involved. We don't know the name of the person who was involved with Mbappe, but it is someone from Arbeloa's staff. So these are some of the reports, and apart from that, the Spanish core, that is of Alvaro Carreras, Raul Asensio, Dani Carvajal, Dani Ceballos, and Eduardo Camavinga also. These 5, 6 players are currently on not talking terms with Alvaro Arbeloa. So it is a complete mess. They haven't talked to Arbeloa since March. Since March. So it's been 2 months since these six players have spoken to their own coach. And they look down
It's
upon
crazy.
Alvaro Arbeloa because, according to them, he's not experienced enough to be the manager.
Yep.
When your own
Yep.
players don't respect you, you are not bound to win matches. And
Yep.
that is what has happened at Madrid. And currently, I can guarantee you this: we will not win the El Clasico. The best
Hmm.
situation for us would be a draw. But I can
Hmm.
guarantee you this. I can write it on a pen and paper and give it to you that because the locker room is not divided, nobody respects Arbeloa, and all the entire situation that has happened between Valverde and Chouamini, and everything that has happened altogether will be the reason why we won't be able to beat Barcelona. And we will have Mbappe, we will have Courtois, but again, we'll miss Valverde, who will be a huge miss in tomorrow's match. So it is really a very tough time. And added up to the mix is Jose Mourinho. So either Mourinho can be the water in this fire, or he can be the gasoline. We don't know. So altogether, I have to say that I think Mourinho is the right manager for us because currently this club is losing the character, mentality, and the, you could say, the character, the mentality, and the identity that was instilled in this club by Mourinho himself in 2010. So we were missing that, and the same guy, the architect of the foundation of the previous foundation, has now come back to set the architect of this new foundation.
Hmm.
So we needed Mourinho. I think there are only 3, 4 managers in the world who are capable of handling Real Madrid right now. One is
Hmm.
Guardiola, who will never join Madrid.
Hmm.
The other is Ancelotti, who has just left Madrid. He will not come back so soon. The other is Zinedine Zidane, who is eyeing the France job, and then there is Jose Mourinho. So I think we are getting the right man, and this is a short-term fix. I feel it will be a fix for 2, 3 years, but after that, I don't see this going forward. I think ultimately it'll be a mess once again, and someone new will have to step in and do the honors of managing Real Madrid.
Thank you so much, Vedant Bhai, for this was like I'm guessing it felt good for you also to get it off your chest to feel how it has been. I mean, it's been a roller coaster last couple of days, and someone as a neutral fan, I was just trying to, it was like almost. I'm sorry to say this, but it was like watching, Big Boss or Desperate Housewives, right? Like it was like this is proper entertainment. I mean, you are trying to, or WWE for that matter. I mean, this is what happens at Real Madrid, and this is my take on that, Vedant Bhai, and let me know if I'm wrong. Madrid and Barcelona, I mean, these are I mean, if not the two biggest clubs in the world, they're the biggest clubs in Spain, and they also own their own media. For Real Madrid, you have Marca, and for Barcelona, you have another set of media, and
El Mundo
they have
Deportivo.
exactly. And they have to fill these pages somehow every day. I mean, these are talking only about Real Madrid and Barcelona. And trust me, both these clubs give them enough content for them to write each and every day about this. But I mean, Roshi bhai, just hearing what has happened, and also from Vedant bhai's this thing. I mean, I know there's a sense of happiness as a Barcelona fan that you get, right? You enjoy this, you to see your rival, like collapse, or be in such a disarray. But I just want to understand from a football perspective. This obviously at Barcelona as well. You have these big players, you have egos. So what is like the difference between Real Madrid and Barcelona in terms of I mean, both the clubs have that same exposure, I would say, but do you think there's something different happening at Barcelona when compared to Real Madrid when managing these egos? Do you think now also Hansi Flick, the type of manager he is, I think he's also like, do you think he's a more balanced manager in terms of tacticals and as a man manager? So what do you think is the big difference between these two clubs, at least
Yeah,
from
first of all,
managing egos?
I started to watch football from 2020, and that was the
Okay.
worst period to be a Barcelona fan. And I still doubted that I supported my club through that. And I saw the whole mockery that Barcelona had, Messi leaving, Frankfurt fans owning the Camp Nou, everything. So
Yeah.
right now, I think it is a perfect time to enjoy that I have suffered that much. So that
Yeah.
is that. But coming to Barcelona, the biggest thing is La Masia and the core club values. I always say
Mhm.
that Real Madrid are the villains of football
Mhm.
and Barcelona
Mhm.
tries to be the heroes. Villains
Mhm.
has mean they don't care how they win. They just want to win it.
Mhm.
Barcelona wants to win it, but in that perfect way, in that tiki-taka, having that possession. Real Madrid won't care about they have possession, they have played a good match. They would just take the 2-1 result or a 1-0 result, even if it means that they suffered the whole match, but they scored at the 90th at the dying minutes of the match. But for Barcelona, that cannot be the same case. We have to win it every time. And then Hansi Flick coming into that system, I think we should be talking about Xavi Hernandez here, first of all, who
Mhm.
built that system, who built that team, who brought back that dressing room that was lost under Ronald Koeman. He brought back those trainings that were just missing. There was no proper passing drills going on. Nothing. Rondos were not there for Barcelona under Ronald Koeman. Xavi Hernandez came in, and then the second thing is the La Masia. These players, be it Gavi, be it Araujo, be it Balde, be it Lamine Yamal, Kubarsi, they're naturally playing football together
Mhm.
since kids. And when you're
Mm.
playing football, they're just friends. There's no
Mm.
chance of ego to come out. And then when
Fair.
Hansi Flick stepped into that picture, it was like a father. He
Mhm.
treats Gavi like father. He treats Lamine Yamal like father. And in fact, every match he scolds Gavi. He asked him to even tie his shoelaces. Gavi had a very bad problem of not tying his laces and playing the whole 90 minutes. Same with Lamine Yamal. We saw Lamine Yamal, pulling down his shorts. He now you wouldn't see him doing that because there was a proper video where Hansi Flick was pulling up his shorts. So that is the thing, and the thing is with the board management as well. The board backs Hansi Flick properly, then they would have blocked like under Real Madrid, Xabi Alonso. If Hansi doesn't want to play Lamine Yamal, he wouldn't play, and the board
Mm.
will back him because of there would
Mm.
be certain reasons. But that
Mm.
wasn't looked like to be the case with Xabi Alonso. That happened.
Mm.
That the
Mm.
players were backed more than the manager.
Mm.
Actually, it was not about players. It was about certain particular players, and the certain particular
Mm.
players being Vinicius Junior, because his
Mm.
contract is up in the air in 2027, and Madrid want to renew him because he's Madrid's big seven. He's one of our most marketable assets, and he own himself generates a lot of revenue to the club. So Madrid don't want to lose obviously such a big asset to the club. Especially an asset which we've built ourselves.
Yep.
So for that very reason, this dispute happened. However, I do believe that the board should have intervened. Florentino Perez
Mm.
particularly should have intervened and sorted this issue between Vinicius and Xabi Alonso. This was not done. I think Xabi could have stayed at the club, and at the same time, Vinicius. I think both of them could have coexisted had the board's intervention had taken place.
Mm.
So yes, I think this season ultimately went into mess in January completely. I mean, as soon as we switched from Alonso to Arbeloa, we clearly were selling off a TV for a remote. So it clearly hasn't worked out for us. So
I mean,
what do
you
you have
couldn't
to
have
say?
put that.
We knew it. This is going to happen.
Yeah.
We As soon as Jabi was sacked, we knew we were not going to win the Champions League. We were not going to win the league, and ultimately the replacement was not up to the mark. As simple as
Yeah.
that. So this was going
Absolutely.
to
I,
happen.
I I think you couldn't have put it any better, Roshibai and Vedant. I think I really loved how Roshibai brought up La Masia and the fact that, these guys have been playing together for their almost like their entire lives. And, there's also like a brotherly camaraderie that exists between the players. Whereas Real Madrid is always has been a team of assembled Galacticos. It's like the Avengers. They have different attributes. They all come together for a common cause. And each one has its strengths and the egos, and that is why Vedant, I
Now
won't
they'll soon have a
argue.
Thanos coming
And
in.
brilliant, brilliant. But exactly, and this Thanos, we all know Vedant Bhai, we all know what Mourinho is, and during his early days at Porto, at Chelsea, he was the special one, and we all truly believed it. But some years down the line, we all know now that Mourinho has lost a bit of his touch, and the fact that I mean, at Benfica, I mean, the season he's still having, I mean, kudos to that. I think they're still unbeaten and they're going to come second. They're going to have an invincible season if this continues. But I think we can all agree that Mourinho has lost a bit of his touch. So, and
I
when there
mean,
is,
it's
I don't
sorry to
agree.
cut you. Sorry to cut you. It's
Mhm.
very debatable
Yeah,
because
please.
at Manchester United, his starting centre back pairing was Eric Bailly and Victor Lindelof, if I'm not wrong.
Perfect,
At
perfect.
Tottenham Hotspur, before they had this centre back pairing of Van de Ven and Cuti Romero,
Mhm.
it was a very aged Vertonghen and Alderweireld.
I think
So
so. Yes.
Alderweireld.
Yes.
Yep.
So ultimately, he's never had a good defense overall. They got
Mhm.
in Pedro Porro after Mourinho left. They
They
got in
got in
Van de
Ange
Ven.
Postecoglou's time.
Yeah, Ane
No,
Postecoglou.
to correct you as well, more you are saying a manager who took Roma and won Roma their first European trophy, if I'm not wrong, European Conference League. Then next year with Roma, he again reached the Europa League final and lost that final to Sevilla, which was again a debatable thing. Then he went to Fenerbahce. You have to look at the clubs also that he has went. Those
Absolutely.
clubs haven't been successful before or
True.
after Mourinho is there.
True.
So you
True.
cannot judge Mourinho while he was in Roma, backed by the
Right.
management. He was doing decent, and I would
Right.
say good
Absolutely,
actually.
Roshi bhai.
Plus,
Absolutely, Roshi bhai and Vedant bhai.
more
Yeah.
importantly, the season when he was the manager of Spurs as well, Spurs were suffering through tremendous amount of injuries, and he
Yep.
was not properly backed in the transfer market as well.
Yep.
And there were a lot of players who wanted to leave Spurs at that time. It was Christian Eriksen who left Spurs
Yes.
just when Mourinho arrived, and it was who else? Danny Rose left Spurs, and a lot of other players had exited from the club. So he joined Spurs at a time when the club was undergoing a transition, and
Mhm.
the management was not that interested in that transition. Daniel Levy did not want that transition to happen, although the club was on the verge of that. Same with Manchester United. It was an utmost mess. I mean, he had Jesse Lingard, Marcus Rashford, who was very much young, Ashley Young as his left back. So he didn't have a great pool of players, is what I'm trying to say. He had to get a Nemanja Matic from Chelsea to Manchester United, Juan Mata. So it was a mess at Manchester United as well. So I feel that he's not had a great, you know, transfer window since the past 6-7 years, if I'd rightfully put it. And Roma ka mein, we already know they don't have that many expectations. We're not expecting Roma to win the Champions League or the Serie A. It's just that they won the Conference League, they went into the Europa League final, which is a big, big thing for them, you know. And for that very reason, I think Mourinho is still not done. He's still the special one, in my opinion.
Brilliant, brilliant. I mean, I'm not gonna take away anything that Mourinho has done. What I meant, and just to also justify what I meant to say is, when I say he's lost his touch, what Mourinho brings is short-term success. And let me to explain myself. What I'm trying to say is, when things work with Mourinho, you can be expected to win something on a short-term basis. But when Mourinho leaves, you're back to square one, or even worse, when the squad is extremely fragmented, when there's been a huge fight, and it will be quite public as well. And Mourinho doesn't keep any, doesn't mince any words. He's going to have explosive press conferences. He's going to be that kind of person. And that is why I'm just saying, Vedant, you've had a manager like Carlo Ancelotti, who's like, as Roshi Bhai said, like Hansi Flick, a father figure, where or like a Zidane, where every player, he earns their respect. And he can put a hand over their shoulder and literally say that, yes, you can have egos, but you are playing towards a common cause, which I'm guessing also Mourinho can do. But also Mourinho is one person who is also quite caustic, who's also quite toxic. He can bring that. I mean, he can bench players if they don't agree to him. And because Madrid is a club who've always backed, it's always been player power over manager power. These are my concerns as someone from a neutral fan. Do you harbor these concerns as well? Because you've said, right, either he can be the water or he can be the petrol to the fire. So I just wanted to bring that perspective as well.
No, so regarding that, I feel that currently there has been one meeting that has already happened between Madrid's board and Jose Mourinho's agents. The next
Mhm.
set of meeting that is meant to happen, according to reports, is that Mourinho will be discussing in person with Jose Angel Sanchez or Florentino Perez, who are Madrid's CEO and president. The meeting will be taking place in a couple of days when Benfica season is over, and they will be discussing strategy. They'll be discussing budget. They'll be discussing what kind of a structure Madrid's board wants from him for the locker room. They'll be discussing all that before the actual contract is signed. So you can clearly say that Mourinho is being very particular and very, you could say, careful about what he's going to do at Real Madrid. He clearly has the backing of the board now, and it is ultimately up to him how he wants to set Real Madrid up for the next 5-10 years, because this is not a small change. Yes, Mourinho will be at the club for a short amount of time, for 2 years, 3 years at max, but ultimately he's not setting up the team for just 2-3 years. He's setting up the team for the entire 10 years that he did a decade back, sorry. So ultimately this time it is about instilling that mentality, getting that unity back, that team cohesion. And it doesn't matter if you bring in the villain. It doesn't matter, because currently Mourinho is the man who's going to break the egos of these players. That's what we need right now. The players need to lose their egos and they need to think about the badge that they're playing for. That has been missing the entire season and the season before as well. So it has been a mess. It has been an absolute mess. But Mourinho, I think, is the perfect man to solve it.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Vedant, also for telling us how
And more
you feel.
importantly, sorry
Yeah,
to cut you. More
go for
importantly,
it.
3 years down the line, we can get someone like a Lionel Scaloni to manage the club forward. Because according to reports, Scaloni is going to end his tenure with Argentina as soon as the World
After
Cup
the
is
World
over,
Cup.
and I
Yeah.
think he's looking for a football club. So hopefully he does succeed because I really like the manager. So I hope he succeeds at his next club. It could be a Premier League club, mid-table club. I don't know, but I hope he succeeds there so that he can now then think of coming to Madrid in the future. That's it.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you so much, Vedant Bhai, for also going in so deep into what how Mourinho would fit in and also what characteristics he would bring. And I think I really like the point that you said that he is one person who will quell all the other egos of the players, because we all know about Mourinho's ego itself. And one thing Mourinho is super good at is he will always make the team feel that this team is against the world is against you, so you have to perform. So he will bring in that type of mentality, that siege mentality as we call it in football. And I think he's the best at doing that, and to motivate the players to say everything is going to go against you, so you have to come and perform each and every day in order to achieve success. So brilliant talk on Madrid, but let's come back to Barcelona, Roshi bhai. Amongst all of this, I think Vedant Bhai already has said that his hopes for the El Clasico is a bit low. But something that you know about Real Madrid from all these years of watching Real Madrid is even amongst chaos, they do thrive and they can do well on their day. So do you feel that Real Madrid on their day, despite all this chaos, can bring a surprise, or are you extremely confident that Barcelona will be licking their lips to get the El Clasico clinched and the title as well at
Yeah,
Camp Nou?
I simply think that this would be one of the biggest bad performances if we lose the El Clasico. I understand we
Hmm.
don't have Lamine Yamal, we don't have proper finishers, but the way the state Real Madrid is in right now, and the chance that Barcelona has to win the league in an El Clasico at your home stadium and still try to go on to the 100 points as well. You
Yeah.
have all these possibilities in a single match, and that will be a big humiliation for your biggest rivals as well, that is Real Madrid. So,
Yep.
and I don't care that you don't have Lamine Yamal. I don't care that you have Robert Lewandowski, who is aging, who, by the way, has still very good goal scoring powers. I don't care you have Ferran Torres. You have to win it. These are the same players that last season did a comeback. Real Madrid in the last season at the same time went 2-0 up. Then we did a comeback and we won the match 4-3. So I expect Real Madrid to score because they are going to score. Our defense is weak. I expect them to score. But I would expect that in the end, maybe a 2-1, 3-1 kind of a match where Barcelona should win. Other than that, I would call it a shame. I never go in an El Clasico where I say that Barcelona is definitely needed, like they should be winning it that confident. But this is the match where I feel that this has to happen. This has to happen to deliver the final, cherry on the cake for Real Madrid as well.
I have a question for you. Currently, which players are injured for Barca except Lamine Yamal?
Except Lamine Yamal. I don't think anyone is.
That's your answer. You have Rafinha, you have Lewandowski, you have Pedri, you have Gavi, and more importantly, you have a team which has cohesion.
See,
Currently,
the
we are
thing
not
is,
even doing any tactical training in our dressing room,
Yep.
right?
the thing is,
I
you
hope
have
you
got
get that as
you
well.
have got the thing is that is finishing, which we lack very
कौन
very
सी
much.
फिनिशिंग भाई कौन सी फिनिशिंग कहाँ देख ली भाई
यार
फिनिशिंग
मैं आपको लिख के
क्लब
दे रहा हूँ,
फिनिश हो गया
एम्बापे
भाई
मार रहा है, एम्बापे मार रहा है, मार रहा है,
अभी
एम्बापे
अभी
मार रहा है।
इंजरी से he's just come back from injury भाई he's not even gonna start
भाई मैं बेंच से भी अगर वो आ रहा है ना एम्बापे, आई वुड बी स्केयर्ड बिकॉज आई हैव सीन 4 एल क्लासिको में वो
this
मार के
is
जाता ही है।
this is just him being humble भाई this is just him being humble once he wins the El Clasico once he wins the La Liga then he'll start अरे Mbappe fuck him who
यार
cares
नहीं, ऑनेस्टली पता है, मैं सच बता रहा हूँ, ये मैड्रिड के ऊपर थोड़ी सी लालच है। बिकॉज अगर आप जिस तरीके से बार्सिलोना का सीजन गया, आई मीन दे लॉस्ट टू 4-2 और 5-2 टू सेविया, उसके उसके बाद आप लोगों से भी हारे हैं, उसके बाद बार्सिलोना इस पोजीशन पे खड़ी है। मैं आई वुड हैव रादर बीन वेरी मच प्राउड ऑफ माय टीम देन लास्ट ईयर देन दिस ईयर, इवन इफ वी आर हिटिंग द सेंचुरीज।
Hmm.
मेरा
But
ये
Roshi
क्योंकि
bhai,
आई नॉट लाइक द डिस्प्ले और द क्वालिटी जो हमने पिच पे दिखाया है।
hmm.
सर्टेन मैचेस जो भाई मैं कहता हूँ कम मैचेस आ रहे हैं, एक रियल सोसिएडाड से 2-1 आ रहे हैं, तो उसमें इतनी गंदी फिनिशिंग 4 बार 5 बार हमने पोस्ट और क्रॉस बार पे बजाई है। बस मेरे को नहीं मजा आया बार्सिलोना को देखने में। मैं बार्सिलोना को देखता क्यों? बिकॉज आई वांट माय आईज क्लीन्ड भाई। मेरे को अगर घटिया फुटबॉल देखनी हो मैं आर्सेनल ही बैठ के देख लूं, मेरे
भाई
को
घटिया
चाहिए अच्छी
फुटबॉल देखनी
फुटबॉल,
है तो
देखो
रियल
गोल
मैड्रिड की
मारो
देख लो भाई।
यार, वो कॉमेडी हो जाती है फिर रियल में, तो कॉमेडी हो जाती है।
कॉमेडी तो हम हो गए हैं, बट ऑनेस्टली मतलब ही इज राइट, यू नो, इवन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू द फुटबॉल, व्हेन आई सॉ बायर्न वर्सेस पीएसजी, it really
It's
cleansed my
insane.
eyes, bhai.
Yep,
It really
yep.
cleansed my eyes because what the hell was I watching every week
Amazing,
for 90 minutes
amazing.
straight? But I have a question for both the panelists. You know, I genuinely want to get your thoughts because I'll be asking my community people as well. Do you think Barcelona are winning the title because Real Madrid are too fractured right now, and so is Atletico, or is it because Barcelona truly deserved it?
I
I
think
think
both of
Roshi
the
bhai, go for it. Go for it, Roshi
both
bhai.
of the things are there because
Mhm.
see, you can argue that Real Madrid did not provide a proper competition. They bottled their 10 points lead as well that they had earlier as well. You can argue that that's a fair point. But the second thing I would say, Barcelona did not rotate their squad. If you look at through the Copa del Rey's and the UCL games, we or the La Liga games that we played, we went on with all that we had, because of which we suffered in Copa del Rey and UCL. But that has been the Barcelona way, that we try to go for every competition. We would not be giving you small minutes, taking out players earlier. You have to play it. You have to focus on La Liga. You have to focus on UCL. You have to focus on Copa del Rey in every tournament. I mean, Lamine played the Espanyol game full 90 minutes. Pedri played the full Espanyol game full 90 minutes. You have UCL, Atletico Madrid ahead second leg. Hansi Flick could have easily taken off, but we were serious. That is why again we are reaching 100 points. So even if you would have had a bit confidence, a bit something from Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid as well, I don't think it would have mattered if a team is reaching 100 points, because that is consistency. Even though we have played bad,
Hmm.
Fair enough.
Madrid
Fair
wouldn't
enough.
have
I
made it to
mean,
100 points. Even if Xabi was still at the helm, everything, I don't think Madrid would have made 100 points because currently the midfield is shaky. And the reason
yes,
why, and because the midfield is shaky, the same reason is why the defense is shaky. You know, if your midfield is a very strong, cohesive unit where there's a lot of control, where there's a lot of understanding between the players, ultimately your defense also gets sorted. So currently, even under Xabi, the midfield was shaky. So I don't think we would have made it to 100 points, and I think that's the reason why Barca are doing it. They have been consistent. Their midfield is solid, and because their midfield is solid, it does add a little bit of protection to the defense as well. So that helps their entire case. So I do think that Barca deserve the title any which ways, even if we were competing or not competing. Fair shot.
absolutely. And also Barcelona have lost just one game in La Liga, I think. So that's something which is crazy.
no, they have
Also,
No,
lost
no,
three to four.
they've lost
they
more
won, right?
games.
Four, sorry. You've drawn one now. You've lost four, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think with Hansi Flick and also what I've seen from Hansi Flick in Germany is, and I think he's gone on to do that very well at Barcelona, is that how he's able to bring the best trust in the young players and bring the
Hmm.
best out of them. And I think he's gone and done that at Barcelona on another level, because at Bayern Munich, yes, you had young players, but they were always supported with a good mix of experience and youngsters. And I think with this Barcelona, if you look at the core Barcelona team, the amount of youngsters these have, and with youngsters, right? One thing is, yes, they have a high ceiling. Yes, they are very exciting to watch. But one thing is always that matters is consistency, right? Like, yes, they are very inconsistent. And one thing that Hansi Flick always does with youngsters is somehow he imbibes that consistency. And he's almost like, as Roshibai said, a very good father figure. I think one thing that I was very surprised with Barcelona this season is not in the league, but in the knockouts of the Champions League. I thought that with this team that Barcelona had, and having a manager like Hansi Flick, I thought that they will go a bit far. But I guess, do you feel the same thing, Roshibai, that Barcelona could have done a lot better in
In
Champions
the
League?
beginning of the season, I thought so. But after 2 months, when I realized that Liga is not the same as the previous year, and Ferran Torres isn't able to stand up onto the expectations. Like if you look at it, I think he has got 17, 18 goals right now at this season. Earlier last season, he got 25 goals, and that time he was a substitute. So he
Hmm.
wasn't able to live up to the main man. And Hansi Flick's system is not about defense; it's about all out on attack. You have to outscore your opponent. And if our strikers like Lewandowski scored 42 goals last season and Ferran scored 25 goals, so it is somewhat 67 goals. But this season, they combined would have scored 40 to 50 goals, which is a very very big problem for Barcelona. Then Rafinha being injured, when Rafinha is in the team and when Rafinha is not in the team, we are two different teams because of the press, because of the consistency that he provides, and also he is always good with finishing and linking up with Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal puts those balls in for him, especially because Rafinha is that good. He has that intensity who keeps on running, be it defense, be it tackling, be it everything. He has been there, but he is also injured. And backup, Rashford, never mind. Hansi Flick also prefers to play Fermin Lopez or Gavi more over Rashford because of the intensity that they provide. We need that, and then if we don't have a finishing, then I had realized actually that if we are winning it, we are winning it with some miracle, not by a complete deserving way.
Mhm. And is that why, Roshibai, you think there's talks of um, Julian Alvarez from Atletico that who could
I
join
don't think
Barcelona?
we should or we would be going for Alvarez.
Mhm.
I think that is just a rumor that has been started by the fan base. I don't think we
Okay.
can afford him. I don't
Mhm.
think we should go for him because we need a proper number 9. We need a Robert Lewandowski replacement. First of all, that
And
is the main thing. We need a proper striker. If you would have been selling Ferran Torres, then it would have made sense to brought in Julian Alvarez as the main guy, and then we have Liva, who is
Mhm.
just there for the headers like Luke de Jong used to be there, or
Mhm.
Jose Lu did for Madrid. But that
Mhm.
is not the case. It's
Mhm.
Lewandowski leaving, so we need a proper number 9. That is not Julian Alvarez.
And who, in your mind, Roshibai, is that number 9 who you think can elevate Barcelona to the next level, especially in the
See,
Champions League?
financially and everything, I have got my eyes on a player. I know I have gonna get a lot of hate, but who says no to Harry Kane? At least I don't think a
Okay.
Barcelona fan would say, because he is good with linking up. He drops down very well. He provides defensive support, and he is lethal inside the box. And I know people would want a younger striker, but sometimes you have to look at the market availability as well. We would be doing the same thing that we did with Lewandowski, but that is the best possible situation we can. We don't want someone to grow after 2 3 years. We want someone right now to win the UCL.
Mhm. Perfect. Very interesting choice as well with Harry Kane. I mean, we all know how good he is, but is he gonna leave Bayern Munich, who
It's
also
just
have
that he has
guaranteed?
65 million release clause.
Okay. I mean, Harry Kane would be an asset to any club going forward, and especially in a league that might not be as intense as the Premier League, as we've seen in Bundesliga and in La Liga. I think Harry Kane will shine, and his quality in UCL as well is unparalleled. Just to go back to Madrid now, Vedant, some closing thoughts on what you believe in the current circumstances could be the final 11 or the starting 11 that could start against Barcelona, and a quick prediction from your side on what the scoreline could look like.
So, looking at the current circumstances, I feel that Thibaut Courtois will be in goal. That is undisputed. He has trained with the team, and he is back. So, I can clearly see Roshi Bhai already, a little bit of hesitation and a little bit of tension that now Courtois is back. So, how is Barca going to score goals? So, Courtois is back in goal. Then at right
That's
back,
good.
it will be Trent Alexander-Arnold. Left back, I think it is going to be Fran Garcia who will start because Carreras is not currently speaking with Arbeloa. So I think just to make sure that he pays the price for that, he'll be on the bench, and it will be Fran Garcia alongside Trent, which is a big worry because Fran Garcia versus Lamine Yamal in the past didn't work out for us. Fran
But it
Garcia
would be
was
Rooney
genuinely
Bardakci this time. It
huh?
would be Rooney Bardakci,
Acha,
who
Yamal is
is,
out. Huh?
Yep.
yes, so
Yamal
that
is out.
is a good thing for
Chalo,
you.
bach gaye. So apart from that, it's going to be Rudiger, Dean Howson as the centre back pairing, and then in the midfield, Chouamini is going to start, which is really very shocking.
Wow.
He should ideally
Interesting.
not start after such an incident, but
He's
Yep.
he
in
is.
the squad.
Yeah, he is in the squad. He's been fined 500k
Yep.
euros.
Both the
Yeah.
players, right?
Both the players have been fined 500k euros, but I don't think that makes sense. You should have suspended Chouameni for this
Yep.
fixture. So
Yep.
Chouameni starts, Bellingham starts, and I think he's going to put in Thiago Pitach. But at the same time, he's got pressure from the board that he needs to play Kamavinga. So it could be Kamavinga, Chouameni, or Bellingham, or Pitach, Bellingham, and Chouameni. We don't know. And the attack would be Vinicius, Mbappe, and Brahim Diaz,
You said
or
Mbappe
Arda
earlier
Güler.
won't start.
Yeah, but he could because the recent reports are showing that he can start. Ideally, he should not start, but there are
हम्म।
reports that he will start. He's the
वो
dictator,
जैसे
bhai.
उसको सऊदी बुला लिया
Who's
था
gonna stop
कोपा
him?
de España के लिए
हाँ
जनवरी में
साउथ
कोपा
गया
de
था
España वो भी स्टार्ट कराया था।
पटेल है बस मुझे तो लगता है पटेल है और कुछ नहीं है भाई मतलब एट दिस पॉइंट मुझे मुझे बस ये लगता है कि ही जस्ट डज इट फॉर द कैमरा एट टाइम्स मतलब आई डोंट नो भाई आई हैव जस्ट लॉस्ट माय फेथ इन दिस स्क्वाड I'll be very honest with you guys. I've just lost faith in the squad. There are only a handful of players that I still believe in. Even the players that I believe in get injured very often. So whom do I even believe? Whom do I even trust? So I think there will be a lot of exits in the summer which are needed, which need to happen. And I think Mourinho is the necessary evil. He's the necessary answer for a squad rebuild.
And Vedant, by a quick question on Trent as to how he has. I mean, there was this huge uproar in England or at Liverpool when Trent left. And then your thoughts on Trent at Real Madrid. Has it worked? Has it not worked? Or what do you see in him? And then finally, also a quick scoreline prediction. That
It
would be
has
great.
worked. He has been one of our main chance creators apart from Arda Güler. It has definitely worked. It's just that he's missed a lot of games. He started around 30, 32 games for Madrid and he's been injured for 20, 22 games. So I think next season is when you really test him, when you really see if the signing has worked totally or not. But apart from that, he has definitely worked out for us. He's created some amazing amount of chances for us this season. He's got low assists. He's just got 4 assists for even his world class standards that are low. But TK, it is his first season. We can cut him some slack considering half of our squad is not performing up to their own mark. So I think Trent is that kind of a player who makes other players better, but those other players are currently in a huge mess themselves. So what can the poor guy do? So I think we need to cut him some slack and not talk about him in a negative manner. I think he's doing just fine. He's not been a problem in the dressing room. So just let cut him some slack.
Brilliant. And your scoreline prediction for tomorrow?
I think it's going to be a 2-0 Barca win or a 2-1 Barca win. Or it could be a
Mm-hmm.
1-all draw also. I don't see
Mm-hmm.
it to be a high scoring fixture because, like he said, Lamine Yamal is not there. Mbappé is just back from injury. Vinicius is performing, but I'm not sure if he will against Koundé. So there are multiple doubts. Plus, Vinicius and Mbappé together, that's a big problem in itself. So I don't see us scoring a lot of goals. In fact, had Mbappe not been there on the pitch, we might have still scored because that's what we've seen statistically. We've scored more without him than with him.
Perfect. And then Roshi, by your team starting 11 for tomorrow and your scoreline
Like it would
prediction
be
for the game.
Juan Garcia, Jules Koundé, Kubarsi, Maldini Martin, and left back would be Cancelo. Now the midfield is where I'm confused. Like it
Mhm.
can be Frenkie de Jong or Mark Bernal as well because Mark Bernal he has just gone up very, very well. And the second thing that Mark Bernal's offer above Frankie de Jong is that his goal scoring powers, that he goes in, he's a box crasher properly. So if a cross is coming, he crashes that in the box. And if Lamine is not there, we might, think that we need to score more goals. But that is a thing that can be substituted after halftime as well because Frankie de Jong, I am really like that guy. The way the calmness that he brings onto the team, the calmness that he brings onto the pitch is also very, very essential. So it depends on Flick on which player he would go, but these two would be there. Then Pedri is for sure starting, and Fermin Lopez would be the cam. The left wing would be Rafinha, right wing would be Rooney Bardakci, and the striker would be Ferran Torres. But I also I think I just don't know. I think Gavi can also be there on the pitch because recently he has been playing well, but he has taken up 4 yellow cards. That is just typical Gavi. So this would be my lineup, and my scoreline prediction would be around 2-1 sort of thing. Yes, 2-1 to Barca.
Perfect. Then we have all, I think we've discussed everything. And then just a quick this thing for both of you guys. One thing that you would say that if I were to bet $100 on to happen tomorrow in the El Clasico. So one thing that you would say that I would wager $100 on this for sure happening, what would be that, Vedant bhai?
Would you bet $100 on
Yeah,
El
yeah.
Clasico?
On a some no, no. I would just say that if you are so sure of something happening tomorrow that you will predict that, watch out for this, guys. This is gonna happen. Is there some moment that you think that you perceive that could happen tomorrow in the El Clasico?
I think
Like,
either Rafinha scores or Fermin Lopez scores.
mhm. Perfect. And Roshibai, from a Madrid perspective, are you
Mbappe is scoring, Rafinha is scoring. I am telling
okay?
you, Mbappe is scoring it.
Okay. Brilliant, brilliant, amazing, guys. I just have to say, coming into the stream, right? Also, it's going to be about Real Madrid and Barcelona. So, one, I was a bit I wouldn't say scared, but I was a bit this thing as to how I'm gonna tackle both these both the fans from this thing in terms of the El Clasico coming up, but also to speak about Real Madrid and all of its problems. And trust me, guys, I've had so much fun. I think I've had the most to laugh. The way you guys picked up your moments and your thoughts, and also how you delivered them. I think it was fabulous. So thank you so much, Vedant Pai, for joining us on the podcast to talk about Real Madrid, to let the fans know what the things are going behind and what exactly went wrong, and also your thoughts on Jose Mourinho. I'm sure people who are going to watch this are going to absolutely enjoy some of the analogies that you made, especially Jose Mourinho to Thanos. I'm sure that's going to pick up as well. So thank you so much, Vedant Pai, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Haribhai.
Brilliant. And Roshibai, as always, thank you so much. Anyone who's watching the stream, I've tried to get Roshibai so many times on this channel and it's just not happened. And I think it required an El Clasico preview for this collab to happen. So thank you so much, Roshibai, for joining us. And yeah, looking forward to talking with both of you guys very soon.
Thank you for having us over here.
Brilliant. And to all those people who are watching us, please go give Madrid Pundits by Vedant and Roshi Football all your love. I think these guys are fantastic football content creators, and they know Real Madrid and Barcelona at the top of their heads. And also Roshi Bhai, as I said, does a lot of watch alongs for ISL. So if you're an ISL fan, or if you want to get around Indian football, please do go follow these guys. All the descriptions and all the links to their socials are down below. So please go follow them. And also, please show some love to our own podcast, which is Football Corner Pod. Your love helps us to get guests such as Vedant and Roshi Bhai in and out every week, such that we are able to talk about football and talk about something interesting and what's what of football. So thank you so much for everybody who's shown their love, and keep it coming, guys. And as I always say on this podcast, take care, stay safe, and be aware of any corners taken quickly. Yeah, see you guys. Bye.